What's good, baby? It's your boy, the one and only Emma, back again with another reaction video, bro. Today we got something a little different. Hold up, let me pull it up. We got something a little different. Actually, not different. I've already reacted to Joey Diaz before, but today we got Joey Diaz. Uncle Joey's gonna tell us a story about how he waited 8 years to give out a beating. Let's just get straight into it. I'm gonna lower my mic volume a bit. Please don't hate me. Oh, nah. Yeah, I'm gonna lower it because I made some popcorn. I'm gonna eat it. Let's just start the video.
For you, and I'll never forget that one night we were at the Comedy Store, and it was Marilyn's, like funeral, and Jeff Valdez went up there, and I'm like, oh my god! And I witnessed, I saw the side of Joey that I never wanted to be in front of. I saw those flames directed at someone, and it wasn't me, and I was never more happy that I was never on your bad side. Because
Gabriel, I'm trying to write a joke right now comparing a wake to Hollywood. Like, I saw my mother get buried, and I went to this wake. And Cuban wakes are 5 days, 4 days fucking long. You know, the arm has to pop up before they bury her. I swear to God, Cuban, something's got to move before they bury him. So I saw these people come into this wake, and everybody told me if I ever needed anything to call them. And a month later, when I called them, the phone was disconnected. You know, so I've always had a big problem with wakes. Like, I just don't fucking like them. So I walk in there that day. See, there's a backstory to the Jeff Valdez thing. You know that he tortured me in Maryland for years.
Bro, I just want to say when he starts like whispering, shit's gonna get good.
That thing that he did to me with the Latino Laugh Festival, I never ever forgot that. Because he made me showcase like a donkey 5 times, clean. And then he said, you didn't make it to the festival. But then he did a midnight blue show. And he didn't ask me to do the dirty show. And I saw him he came to the store on purpose that Monday night, like to rub it in my face. And I was like, that's a declaration of war. But I'll save that for later down the road. That's how crazy I am. So this is 98. And I saved it as a declaration of war that showed back up in 2007. Like, I always knew I was going to stab him one way or another. I'm looking at you in the face, and I'm telling you that whole thing, how to describe to comedians what it felt like. It was a time in my life where I couldn't find an agent. I was booking shit. I booked the CBS pilot. I booked basketball, and I had booked something else. Everybody had agents. Everybody was going to Montreal. Everybody was getting something. And here I am stuck at the store following Paul Mooney every night. And I didn't really see it for what it was. Do you know what I'm saying, dog? So here I am living my life. I never bothered the Latin community. In 1996, they called me in Seattle and flew me down and put me in a hotel in Wilshire and took me to the Laugh Factory and made me go up number 6 behind Greg Giraldo and fucking
wow.
This is when Pablo was a fucking pure hell. This is when Pablo was doing Seinfeld in Spanish. And once I saw that, my insides broke. I'm like, I don't deserve to be down here. So I went up. They put me up like number fucking 2. I'm a Cuban guy in an all-Mexican room. I get fucking buried. I get off stage. There was one person who came up to me and gave me a hug. Marilyn Martinez came up to me and she goes, that's the funniest thing I ever saw in my life. These stiffs just don't fucking get it.
They don't understand.
Fuck them. They have a broom up their fucking pussies. You know, like, she would just go off into like this thing. That's how I met Marilyn Martinez, was after bombing my first time ever in LA and getting off the stage and her going off and taking me outside and telling me to move here.
I haven't heard of her or heard any of her jokes. So I'm kind of excited. I'm gonna search her up.
That I should be on the next plane down here, that they're looking for guys like me. And I remember taking her number. And I went back to Seattle, kept in touch with Marilyn, and then I got the deal from CBS. And when I came back, I called Marilyn. And she told me, come to the store. I'll introduce you to Mitzi, the whole fucking thing. I mean, it was just mind-boggling how nice of a lady she was. She had the black husband, David.
David
David.
always had those mints in his pocket.
Yeah.
I could always depend on David to hand me a mint.
It was just a weird, I don't know what she was to you and me. She was like, she went off on you. She went off on me. You know, it was like she was like an angel.
She would go off on me for bad relationship choices because I would always tell her what was going on. You're stupid. You know, she would tell me some nasty things I should be doing instead of trying to be romantic. David, give him a mint. You know? I'm like, oh my God.
It's funny. I have a picture of her on my clipboard. Like I have a clipboard on the wall, and I just look at it. Whenever I see it, I just think of her saying, she would call the house, dog. And if I didn't pick up, remember the old answering
machine? Pick up, pick up, pick up. Hello, I know you're there.
She would say, cocksucker. And my girlfriend would go, what kind of people do you hang out with? Like, that's when I first started dating Terry. And Marilyn would call the house. We'd leave the store at 2. You went to Santa Monica. You got a chicken burrito. You just talked there till about 2:45. And then you went home. And a half hour later, your phone's ringing. It's Marilyn. And all of a sudden, she'd go, I got to go. There's a guy calling me for phone sex. And then she would go get a phone sex guy. And I'd be sitting there snorting blow. And all of a sudden, my phone would ring. What's up? Fuck him. He wanted me to stick a broomstick up my pussy. Like, she would say all this shit to you. And I'd be coked up, Gabriel. I'd be 5 a.m, coked up.
And you've talked about Marilyn before. That people know that she used to be a phone sex operator back in the day. Those 976 days in the late
you got to remember,
90s.
Marilyn was 5'4",
300.
378.
But she had one of those
And that's without the
voices.
shoes. Her head looked like he got hit with a safe. Like somebody dropped a safe from the 11th floor. God rest her soul. I'm not saying nothing bad about her. I miss her dearly. I couldn't even imagine her around today. Like on a podcast.
Wow.
I couldn't even imagine her around, tipping the scales at 400, eating on a podcast, talking dirty shit about people, because by this time she would have been fucking gone. She would have still been talking shit about poetry. God rest her soul.
Yeah, she was not for the sensitive. Yeah, her.
That's badass.
But, it was weird that she was a phone sex operator. And she told me that she would remember her character was Miko.
Miko.
I'm a Japanese.
Yeah, she's Japanese.
She was Mexican. She would play Miko and something else. And then she'd
grab her cheek and she sounds so wet. She'd do the little.
Oh my God.
This is how she paid the bills?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my God.
And I remember going on the road with them and going to the hotel.
Bruh. Come on.
By advertising on YouTube, I grow my business by reaching my most important customers, people like Allison.
Stop.
Hotel room, they had a cooler filled with licorice and candies. They were like walking diabetes. It was tremendous. It was tremendous. It was like having a mom, but not really. She was a comedy fucking chick, man.
She was awesome.
She's been dead for 12 years now.
Oh, wow.
Because that's how long I've been clean. She died the week I decided to get clean. So that's what I'm trying to say to you. Jeff Valdez caught a beating. 8 years later, I waited in the bushes. like what's his name in the beginning of fucking...
Oh, my God.
What's his
Bro,
name in the
Lee
beginning of
laughing.
Apocalypse Now? Remember when he takes the hit of acid and he's naked in his room? Charlie Sheen's father.
Martin.
Oh, my God.
Martin. I'm like Martin Sheen. Remember he says, right now I'm in this room getting weaker while Charlie's in the bush getting stronger. I was just Charlie in the bush getting stronger. And I always knew I was going to light Valdez up for that night. He broke me. Like, it didn't matter what else was going on in my life. Like, it didn't matter I was poor. It didn't matter that I didn't have a fucking theatrical agent. It didn't matter that nobody wanted to sign me. None of that shit mattered. You couldn't give me a spot in a dirty show at the festival. I never forgave him for that. And how he switched it up that week after he humiliated me like 4 or 5 times. The following year, he sent us down there, and he paid us with a
I remember
check.
it was you and Marilyn. Yeah.
Me, Marilyn, and then just because he sent me down there didn't mean I forgave him. I always kept that in the back of my mind, and it was always going to be a smack to the face, at least. I knew it was going to be a smack to the face. So I let it, whatever. I picked up the longest yard. They called me. They tried to run a scam by me. First they called with a number, and I said, go fuck yourself. Then they called back with the number I asked for, like that easy. Like all of a sudden I was fucking Bill Cosby. I'm the hottest act. Like just they just weren't right. Something wasn't right. And then they did that last festival where everybody bowed out of. And they did the theater. Jeff Valdez did the theater on Hollywood Boulevard. I was still living in Hollywood. He kept calling me going, come on, come over and do the theater. It doesn't pay anything. But he's charging $55 at the door. He's not paying anything. And I was over it already. I was over the whole Latin scene. That ship had fucking sailed and went. Like the whole thing had gone. It was broken. And all of a sudden, the thing I fucking hate the most happened. A friend of mine dies. So at the time, I know he was giving her work. Remember they were doing that TV show about her working with kids?
Yeah, this was it showing like CTV? Was it the
Yes. He was paying her like $500. I'm not mad at him for that. I was mad at him for what he put us through. Because not only was I heartbroken, but Marilyn cried. Marilyn cried to me saying that the reason why she didn't get it was because she wasn't pretty and shit. And I just never forgot that night. And I just knew he was going to get it. And all of a sudden, God forbid, 8 years later, Marilyn Martinez is dead.
Damn.
I get off the plane from New York. I haven't done coke all weekend. So I was 4 days into wrestling with the no coke thing. I get back. There's going to be a wake. My cat dies. I make a fucking promise that I'm not going to snort coke if the other cat lives. And all of a sudden we have to go to church for Marilyn Martinez. And I parked the car. I was maybe 390 at the time. And I was taking Kung Fu in Silver Lake with some fucking...
Joey Karate?
That was how Joey Karate became. Okay. And I'll never forget parking the car, going in and seeing Jeff Valdez by the church. And my blood pressure went up from 100 to 190. And I said, hello, I was cordial. And there was drama going on. Who was going to pay for the funeral? Marilyn's husband couldn't afford the funeral. Some people said they were going to pay for the funeral. But if certain people showed up, they weren't going to pay for the funeral. So David was all stressed out. I was living in a fucking apartment. I could barely make $700 a month rent. I couldn't help out. I felt horrible. So I knew all this bad energy was going on. So, you know me. You know I'm hot-headed. And at that time, I had the drugs going on. So I could hit you with a dish. I threw a bottle at some guy at the Comedy Store. I was doing shit that junkies do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I was doing junkie shit. So I bowed out of that thing at the Comedy Store. That church thing was at 10 o'clock a.m. I saw Jeff there like 11, and my blood pressure started going up. I went home, and I said, I'm going to stay home and mind my business. I even took a sleeping pill. I took a sleeping pill so I wouldn't do coke. It would have been like the 7th day. that I was being clean from coke. And I was already burning the fuck up, and now my best friend dies. Somebody who calls me every night, calls me cocksucker and all this shit. And I go, fuck this. A friend of mine who's not my friend no more because she started drinking again and lost her fucking mind, called me up and she goes, listen, I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. She was your friend. If you don't go, it's going to look bad. And I go, you know what? You're absolutely right. And I fucking went there, but I stopped. I got $60 out of the ATM in Sunset, and I went to the dealer's house and I bought a gram of coke and I put it in my drug pocket.
Damn.
And I go, I'm gonna go down there and I'm gonna fucking do whatever they were having like that. Now you were there
At the store, yeah.
at the store when we had a talk. You were there. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I walk in.
Because the night Ludovica got naked too.
Right,
Remember that?
Ludovica showed up. No, by that time they had sent me home. I was banned from the building and shit like that. And by the way, I didn't get banned for that. Mitzi Short called me. I told her the truth, and she goes, fuck him. I didn't like him anyway. He's a greasy motherfucker or something. So I was like, whoo. I risked that bullet. And when I go in there, I make the turn. Now, I'm clean off coke for 7 days. I'm pissed off about that. I'm pissed off because they offered me a movie. And the people said to me, excuse me, before you accept the movie, we want you to think about it. Because we know you have a drug habit. I was pissed about that.
Damn.
I was pissed about Maryland. I was pissed about everything in my fucking life wasn't going the right way. And I walk into the Comedy Store main room, and there's a buffet for Marilyn's death. There was a line of food in the back that Corey Cuomo had put together, Freddie Soto's wife. God rest his soul. And who was eating the free food but Jeff Valdez? That was the ultimate insult where I come from. I knew I had a stab in the fucking neck. I went in, I didn't even have time to snort the coke, I swear to God. I went in and I got like a Dewar's on the rocks. And I drank it, and I walked, and my blood pressure, my heart was pounding. I didn't know if I was gonna hit them. And all of a sudden they stop me and they go, hey, we're gonna start this thing.
I'm fucking dead, bro.
And all of a sudden they stop me and they go, hey, we're gonna start this thing.
Oh my god. I'm dead, bro. With the boys. I be farting.
I don't care if you're 3 or 75.
Joey is
We still got
dying,
it,
bro.
bro. That's all that matters. You know what? Fuck the story. We're into with that because this is pure shit that's coming out of my head. Look at him. Look at him. He's turning purple over
The
there.
third time he's farted on me
Oh
today.
my god.
Oh, and that one sounded wet. There's no
Oh.
way. And you don't wear underwear.
Yeah.
There's no way you're
No, I got underwear on. Trust
Oh,
me.
thank God.
I'm 57. I went down that road already.
Damn. That's a real good story. Shit. I don't know, bro. I'm guessing this is not gonna be my most popular episode. But I wanted to finish that bag of popcorn. So, sheesh. If y'all liked it, let me know. Leave a comment. Subscribe. Click everything. Y'all are smart. And that's it for this video.